Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 114 of Carmela's Wrestling Radio Relived. I'm so excited that we are doing so well. It's just a blessing, a complete blessing. I'm here today with my buddy Rich. How you doing, honey?
Doing good, Carmela. How you doing today?
I've had better days, but I'm doing okay. Do you have anybody you want to say hi to before we get this crazy show started?
Uh, Say hi to my lovely wife, Harriet. I don't
Harriet.
know.
Hi, Harriet. Who else?
That's it today.
Nope, your brother, your friend in Philly. That's it, huh?
My brother. I say hi to my
Okay.
brother.
Okay. Hi, brother. Okay, I want to say hi to our regulars. We have Douglas, we have Dave Shapiro, we have Dave Katz, Michelle, Mike, David, my sweet David, um, Hector. Oh my God, there's so many. I want to give a great big hello to Debbie, of course. God bless her. She's doing so well. I want to give a really big thank you to our podcast from yesterday. We did a tribute to the passing of Rich Engling. He is a very, very significant figure in the Cauliflower Alley Club, which we have always pushed on our podcast because I have a thing on my hate that. Okay. Always pushed on our podcast because he was such a good man and he did so much. Cauliflower Alley is an organization that provides help, money, bill paying, cell phone, food, um, mortgages, anything to professional wrestlers or people in the professional wrestling industry who fall on hard times. And the reason that we pushed it so hard is because this show is primarily old school. And unfortunately, what people don't get is the wrestlers today, God bless them, have no problems with their insurances and food and a place to live and things like that. But years ago, the wrestlers that I knew and the wrestlers that we talk about a lot had a lot of problems. And sadly, it's a lot of those wrestlers and those people in the industry that came upon hard times, which Cauliflower Alley has helped tremendously. So I wanted to say thank you. We had Rich Engling's daughters, both of them, Heather and Jennifer. We had Darla Skaggs and Barbara Goodish, who is the widow of Bruiser Brody. And Darla Skaggs is now the treasurer for Cauliflower Alley. Of course, we had Jeannie, and she did good. We missed her. We miss her. And Joel Goodhart. And Brian Blair, B. Brian Blair from the Killer Bees hopped on. He's the president of Cauliflower Alley. So thank you, everybody who was on that show. Thank you to all the wonderful comments we got about it so far. And thank you for everything. All right, so let's get this ball on the road, Richard. Okay. Why don't we
Okay.
first talk about the big, huge elephant in the room? Okay. The very disastrous person on the phone being Pat McAfee. Are you kidding me?
I think disastrous would be an understatement. I
Oh,
mean, the internet lit up. Uh, Everyone was incensed. The whole the whole angle is absolutely ridiculous. Going back to the Attitude Era, Randy Orton doesn't need anybody speaking for him. And Pat McAfee was the biggest letdown of someone on the other line of the phone that I've seen in any angle in a very long time.
oh my God. Oh my God. And the funny thing is they kept showing him standing by at the area on the phone with a big flag up, with a picture of his father. I could see if it was his dad. That I could have seen, his dad coming out saying, son, don't do this, be careful, watch out, don't do this, don't do that. But I mean, I could also have seen maybe if he had talked to John Cena, maybe if he had talked to one of the old school wrestlers, like maybe The Rock even, or if he had talked to his wife, or if he had talked to one of the other current wrestlers that are Cody's wife, anything. But Pat McAfee, and from what I read, Pat McAfee didn't even want to do it. He thought it was stupid. But they, kind of made him do it in a way. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. That was the worst thing. And he was so bad in his actions as a bad guy. He was so bad. He was so very bad. Okay. So what Pat McAfee has to do with this whole thing is completely and totally beyond me because it makes no sense. None whatsoever. Like you said, Randy could handle it by himself. Randy is an icon, whether you like Randy or not. He's been around for a million years. He is an icon. He is a professional. He is a superstar. Let him do something on his own. Okay. Now, supposedly at the end of SmackDown Friday, Cody Rhodes came out with this terrible speech about, how pissed off he is and everything. So that, from what I heard, what I read, is the quote unquote heel turn for Cody. I don't see how that was a heel turn, but that's what people are saying. It didn't strike me as the significance of a heel turn. Did it strike you that way?
No, I didn't see it as a heel turn at all. What I
No.
saw or read was that was his supposed genuine reaction to the angle in itself, because again, from what I'm reading, it was Ari Emanuel's idea, the owner of Endeavor, who owns TKO, who owns WWE, and it was his idea to have Pat McAfee, because Pat McAfee has the show on ESPN. WWE is now on ESPN, and it was supposed to generate all this kind of buzz. And I think at the end of the day, it totally backfired. Cody's rant toward the end of SmackDown was supposed to basically express how he really feels
Yeah,
as to how bad it
exactly.
was.
That's ridiculous. The whole thing was ridiculous to me. I wanted to ask something about the thing with Cody. Again, I don't know if they're going to turn him heel. I don't see him being a good heel. All right. I really don't. I do think that something's going to happen at WrestleMania between the two. Something has to happen because with McAfee involved, they can't just have Cody against Randy. With McAfee there, he's going to start jumping in. Somebody's going to have to jump in. So it's going to be a whole drawn out thing. Let me ask you, since you said that it was a gentleman from Endeavor that came up with the idea, who do you think came up with the idea of allowing CM Punk to say that the ticket prices were too high? Because obviously somebody had to have allowed that, or that would have never been said.
I think it was allowed at the top to try to generate buzz, to try to maybe salvage the angle. So I think they expanded the angle by having CM Punk say that, doing it with permission, thinking that it was going to create all this buzz. Now they're calling it another pipe bomb. I didn't see that as a pipe bomb at all. He's talking about Roman Reigns and going on a Roman Reigns rant, and then all of a sudden he looks into the camera and says, "Oh, let me address Pat McAfee," out of the clear blue sky. Totally ridiculous. They are not.
Go ahead.
They are not selling tickets. No, they're not selling tickets. And if they think that this is going to make them sell more tickets, I don't see it.
No, I don't see it either. First of all, if you're agreeing that the tickets are too high and you're making an announcement and they're not lowering the tickets, how do they expect that to bring them more ticket sales? Okay, because the prices aren't going down. People haven't automatically overnight gotten more money, especially with the economy the way it is now, and gas prices are ridiculous. How's that? Nobody has money for any of this stuff, But I don't know, but I think this is just, all of this is starting to get ridiculous. And if this was a pipe bomb, everybody knows what happened with the one and only pipe bomb that CM Punk had. And the WWE, if they don't authorize something, you saw what happened. They cut his mic, they turn out the lights, they let the people leave early, whatever. If they don't authorize something, you trust me when I tell you, somebody would have came out and physically pulled him out. Okay. So no, that was approved. Whatever he said on Monday Night Raw was definitely approved. Okay. So that's, in my opinion, that's not building the match. All right. Having CM Punk come out and rant about everything else is not, absolutely not building the angle between CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns comes out once in a while and says stupid things to CM Punk. CM Punk comes out and says stupid things about Roman Reigns and his family. Then CM Punk goes off on these other rants. And then one time He beats up Roman Reigns. Another time Roman Reigns beats him up, but there is no story. Do you agree with me on that?
Yeah, there's no story. I mean, they could have really done a great backstory going back to his going back to Roman Reigns' original bloodline angle. They could have built it off of that. They involved the Usos for 1 week, but then all of a sudden now they're in their own feud or whatever, if you want to call it that, with Logan Paul and Austin
Right,
Theory, which
right.
is another which is another debacle in and amongst itself, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But they're just they're just directionless, in my opinion, right now.
I think, and I'm
And
going to tell you this. Go ahead, finish.
I was just going to say that I I think that they are trying to find ways to still recover from it, but whatever they're trying, it's not working, and the clock's ticking. It's too late to recover.
Well, yeah, you're right. It's too late to change anything now either. It's next week, all right? But the thing, and I actually considered, and I should pop myself right in the head, I actually considered signing up to ESPN for like 1 week so that I could watch WrestleMania, but it's not worth it to me, you know? I would love to see the Obafemi and Brock Lesnar match. I got to tell you, I gotta tell you, Obafemi and Brock Lesnar, you know I love Obafemi, but Obafemi and Brock Lesnar were so good to me. Again, it was the regular stupid things like they beat each other up, security comes in to separate them, blah, 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 blah. But it looked like Obafemi threw that chair with one hand. I know he probably didn't, but to me, it looked like you could see the one hand and there it went. I was like, oh my God. I rewound that like 500 times because I love Obafemi. Not quite as much as I love Who's Behind You, but we'll get to that in a minute. But I love Obafemi. Okay. And it really makes me angry. It really makes me angry that other podcasters that are more popular than we are and that have more money and have more connections have actually had him and Will Ospreay on their podcast, and I haven't. And that makes me mad. So anybody who knows anybody, I want these people on the podcast. Done deal. Okay. Now everybody's done laughing at me. We can go forward. Okay. I think also they're not giving, except for Rhea getting her butt beat all the time, they're not giving enough backstory, enough coverage, enough credence to all the women that are going to be in WrestleMania. I don't see anything except for Lash Legend, Nia Jax, um, Rhea, Io, Charlotte, and what's her name, Alexa. But that's it. I mean, nothing else. They're not promoting any of the championship matches really, except for maybe Cargill. They're just beating up Rhea Ripley. Again, no rhyme or reason. There's no story. There's no, well, you did this to me, you no good so and so, and I'm going to get you at WrestleMania. That would be a story. How do you feel about
Agreed.
that? Yeah,
No,
there's
totally agree. This is probably, in all my years of watching wrestling, probably the worst build-up to their Super Bowl, WrestleMania, that
yeah,
I think I've ever seen.
I agree. Now I'm going to make a statement here, a bold one. All right. Anybody who makes fun of us, or me anyway, for liking AEW as much as I do, take your aluminum foil off your head for a minute. All right. Go back, watch Raw and SmackDown, and then watch Wednesday night, last night's Dynamite. Oh my God. Okay. I cannot believe the show that we saw last night on Dynamite. And tell me that I'm wrong, Rich.
No, I can't tell you you're wrong. That was from start to finish. It was just like wild. It was nonstop, and it was one
Oh,
of their best episodes in a long time. And
when
it's very obvious that they are catering to a totally different audience after comparing that to what we've been seeing on WWE over at least the last several months.
and they're doing it, I believe, a lot of old school way. You know, when they first came in the beginning of the match, okay, well, beginning of the show, I should say, they had the what's the name? The Death Riders standing out there, you know, and all of a sudden Will Ospreay is hitting John Moxley. They start beating the crap out of him. He's got a nice little suit and tie on. All of a sudden they throw him on the cement. This car SUV pulls up, and out of it comes his girlfriend or his fiance. Okay, Alex Windsor. Then comes Francesco Akira, who is amazing. He's a little guy, but he is unreal. His wrestling skills are bar none. All right. Then Will Ospreay's protege, and I'm probably going to get his name wrong, Colin Wellham, something like that, right? And then the Asian, I think he was Asian. Come on, Rich, help me. Hakira, something like that. Oh my God. They decided to go against the Death Riders right out there in the garage, I guess you would call it, beating the heck out of each other. So then they made this big match. The main event for the end of the night was going to be the why can't I ever remember? Every time I say Death Riders, the second I say Death Riders, it goes right out of my head. Death Riders against Will Ospreay and his new group called the United Elite. Okay. That was going to be the last match. All right. Anyway, in the interim, they had Edge came out with Christian. Okay. They're going to fight. And this is Sunday. It's called Dynasty. Okay. They're going to fight help me out
FTR.
here. Yeah, FTR. Okay. I keep thinking of Dax. The name Dax just comes in my head.
Yeah.
FTR. Okay. And of course, Christian, God bless him, with his nasty comments. He was like, I had to go above everybody's head and I had to go talk to your mothers. And I talked to your mothers and I'm going to, and implied that he had sex with them and blah, blah, blah. But oh my God, it was so good. It was so good. And they had, I got to tell you, we don't talk about this enough, but I absolutely love, as they call her, the Megasis, Megan Bain. She is, to me, she presents such a majestic look about her, and she's good in the ring. The other girl that's with her, and please forgive me because I'm not feeling that great today, and I'm not 100% on names right now because I just jumped right into this. Her new tag team partner. Do you know her name, Rich?
No.
With the purple and the blonde. All right. Well, anyway, I don't know her name, but anyway, they're both huge women. They're both like Amazonish, and they're both good. Okay. And then we have Tekla. Now, Tekla, I don't like. I really don't. I don't see anything endearing about her. I don't like the fact that she turns over upside down and they call her now the spider or whatever she is. Not a fan. Not a fan of her having the belt either. That's the same thing that Bray Wyatt used to do. And I just wasn't a fan of that. That's not a scary move. That doesn't scare anybody, I don't think. But what do you think of Tekla?
I haven't really seen that much of her, so I don't have an opinion yet to offer. I was on and off with AEW last night, so I missed that part. But one thing I will say is they do have a very good, from the stuff that you're talking about, they have a very good backbench, especially on the woman's side, because Tony Storm's out. No one knows. I mean, what happened to Mercedes Moné? Like, where's she been?
She's out too. They haven't given an explanation for that I'm aware of. So she's out. She lost her title though.
Right.
So
yeah,
she's taking a hiatus.
Different titles. Yeah. Dr. Britt Baker, you haven't seen her in what, 9 months?
I don't think she's coming back to AEW. I really don't.
But what they've done is, I just mentioned 3 names that were really hot talents that have not been on for various reasons, and they've been able to compensate for that with other female talent. I'm not necessarily wild about Willow Nightingale, but she's entertaining.
Yeah, she is. She's got a hype. Like, my daughter can't stand her because she's like, oh my God, I can't stand that hype, but I like her. I do. I like her a lot. And I think that she's actually good at her wrestling. What did you think of the United Elite, though? What did you think of that end match? I think it was so good. Can you hear me?
Oh, it was great. Okay. And the funny thing is, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was great, and you thought it was the end of AEW, but then they had the run over with the interview at the end.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
from start to finish, it was really good,
It was a
action
good,
packed.
yeah, it was very action packed, and it was like the final match between United Elite and the Death Riders was just non-stop. It was just non-stop, and it was like I loved it because there's so many good people on each team. Like these new people that Will Ospreay brought in were really good. The other team on the Death Riders, I mean, John Moxley, he's good. I don't care what anybody says. But I love Claudio Castagnoli. Okay. It used to be Cesaro. He's so good and he's so strong. And I just like the action, the going back and forth was unbelievable. And then all of a sudden, I keep saying Will Ospreay's girlfriend. I shouldn't do that, but all of a sudden, Alex Windsor runs out, and her and Shafir are getting into it, and I'm glad they finally have a woman, so to keep everything even keel. So I'm sure she's going to be there Sunday. So if any of you want to get the pay-per-view for Sunday, just do it. I mean, if you can afford the 40 bucks, it's 40 bucks. Just do it. If you guys want to watch WWE, you may want to do either what I'm going to do and just put out the 30 bucks one time and cancel, or steal one of your friends a sign on, because I share my sign on with a lot of people. So I think one of them should at least share it with me. I have to say right away, though, Douglas, I love you to death. Douglas shares a lot of things with me. He's a kind, wonderful man, and he does help me out a lot. So I want to also not forget, we're not forgetting Chuck Langerman, because we can't forget him. I want to take 1 minute here to say something about Chuck, okay? This man doesn't owe me anything, okay? He doesn't know me and Jeannie really from Adam. We've never met him, okay? He's been a fan. He told me that our podcast is the only podcast he listens to. And now, Rich, as well. This man, no matter what I do on this podcast, no matter what the show's about, no matter who the guest is, no matter where we're going with our storyline or whatever we have here, by the time the week is over and we're ready for the podcast, we get emails all over the place from Chuck. He does research for us, never asked him to do it. He puts together questions, which we also have again, okay? Never asked him to do it. He knows everything about you. He makes himself know everything about what's going to happen in our podcast that night. And everything we put on Facebook, he is constantly commenting about, constantly putting in information. Thank you to Chuck, because he started the ball rolling on the nominations. Thank you too, Rich. Of course, you jumped on the bandwagon for the nominations for the Hall of Fame. He is such a good guy. There's going to be an article written in the Philadelphia Inquirer about Rich England, thanks to Chuck Langerman. I just talked to Gary Miles last night from the Philadelphia Inquirer. And this guy, like I said, Chuck, if I don't have to pay you, you could be my manager forever. I want everybody to know, look for him on Facebook. His name is Chuck Langerman. He is a wonderful man. He is amazing. And Chuck, I just love you, and I want to say thank you. So before we go back to talking about wrestling, did you want to say something, Rich?
Yeah, I've never met Chuck. I don't know him. I've seen what he's posted. I mean, he basically does a recap of your podcast, and he does it in such a positive tone, and you could tell that he's really into it and he's such a fan. Like, one of the first things he'll say is, on a can't miss podcast, and then he summarizes everything that was covered. And he even mentioned me, and I greatly appreciate that. And again, Chuck, I've never met you, but thank you.
He's
Just
a legend.
keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, he's a fan legend. He's a legend. He really is. But he gave us a couple questions. Let's do a couple, and then we'll go talk back about wrestling, okay? Carmel and Rich, have either one of you ever attended a WrestleMania in person? If so, where were your seats? No, I have not.
I have gone to 2 WrestleManias. The first one was 1998 in Boston, where Austin beat Shawn Michaels, where Mike Tyson was the special guest referee. The second, I was in the nosebleed seats in a side part of the arena. So it was a very, they weren't great seats, and the site was, they were like tiny to look at. The other WrestleMania I attended, I believe it was either 2000 or 2001. It was a WrestleMania in Philadelphia when it was the main event was Rock against Stone Cold Steve Austin. I think that's the one where Austin turned, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. All right.
I was in the middle front, not on the floor, but the first level up, somewhat in the middle, really, really great seats.
Well, when I used to go wrestling, I used to love to sit in what I guess they would call the mezzanine, like not on the floor and not in the nosebleeds, but kind of like you said, one level up from the floor seats, because it was easier to see. If I was there to enjoy the wrestling, it was easier to see. If I was there to go in the back, then I didn't care because I didn't have tickets. All right. Okay. In the current year, 2026, what, in your opinion, are the 3 most important qualities for a pro wrestler to have to get over and put asses in the seats?
Number 1 would be the gimmick, the wrestler's gimmick. Number 2 would be the mic skills, the ability to energize a crowd, either get them on your side or turn them against you. And I would say the third thing would be a really good backstory.
Okay, I agree with you. I'm going to throw in another one. I think their private, not private, I shouldn't say private, their outside relationship with the fans. I think, and I've gone back again 62 years with this, I believe that how a wrestler treats the fans determines so much, because I believe that the fans just generate to a person who actually acknowledges their existence. Today, the wrestlers are too quick to say, I'm a superstar, I'm a wrestler, I have a life, don't bother me. And I don't care. Like my daughter says to me all the time, Mom, you're wrong, because they're allowed to have a private life, and she's right. They're allowed to have a private life. That part is right. But if I'm a star, okay, and I'm going to be out among people and they know who I am and they say, hey, Carmel, can I have your autograph? Or, hey, Carmel, talk to me for a minute. Unless I'm absolutely, in a terrible hurry, which, I mean, I'm not a star, but I would sit and talk to them. I would sign their autograph. I would show them the kindness that they deserve. And that, unfortunately, doesn't happen today. And I think that is a major thing that a wrestler should have. As far as all those other things, I think that a wrestler, I agree with you, wrestlers should have all those things, but unfortunately, a lot of that comes from upstairs and it doesn't really come from them, unfortunately. Okay, going forward, do you think Chris Jericho will make a big difference in AEW ratings?
No.
Okay.
Do you?
I don't think he's going to make a big difference. I think that last night when he was there, he started that list again, which I think is funny because I had my own list. When he did the WWE list, it was so funny. I went to work, and it's funny because, you're in what?
No, it was great in WWE.
When you go to work, you have to do something to break up the monotony, And I'm at work, working, and then like when I was back then, I used to sit there and I had my pad and pen and whatever. And if somebody like got on my nerves or so, I'd pick it up and you're on the list, you made the list, and everybody was like laughing because they had no idea what I was talking about. But I think I like that part. I like it. It's funny. I think last night Chris Jericho was funny. I think he was touchable, let's say. I really don't care for Ricochet anymore. I told you that before. But I think last night, Chris Jericho did a great job. No, I do not think that Chris Jericho moving forward will bring a large crowd in. I just don't. I don't think he ever really did, to be honest with you. That was always my opinion. But I don't think he will. Okay, next one. Go ahead.
First AEW champion, right? And I think that back then, he was probably the biggest name talent that had come from WWE
Mhm.
over to AEW. And I think that back then he was kind of he started to become the face of AEW, and the gimmick and his character at the time, I think back then it drew more fans.
Yeah.
Now he's been through so many gimmicks in AEW now. He's turned face, heel. I mean, he's done that all over the place, wherever he's wrestled. That last gimmick he had a year ago, I forget what it was called. It was with Big Bill.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah, the learning tree.
the learning tree. That was the worst. That
Yeah, I
was
didn't
the
like that.
absolute it was stupid. And the fans are booing him.
Yeah,
And they're
I didn't
like,
like
and
that.
they're screaming, retire, retire. Um, I think I think the current gimmick that he's developing now or that he's portraying now is great, but I don't think it's going to make. They have too many other or too much other better talent that they're developing that they're building on, where I don't think Chris Jericho would make any difference.
See, and I agree with you. And I think that what he's bringing in now, and although I like the list thing, is a WWE thing. Okay. He's bringing that into the AEW. And right now, even MJF said AEW has never been hotter. Right now, the AEW is strictly wrestling. They're not doing a lot of gimmick. They're not doing a lot of showing. They're not doing a lot of, joking and laughing. And it's wrestling, and they do have a story, and I like that. I like that a lot. And isn't it funny that I remembered the list and I can't remember death
Death Riders.
I don't know why that happens. I can remember the list and I can't remember Death Riders. But anyway, I think that's
Well, you
funny as
know,
hell.
right? The Death Riders were originally the Blackpool Combat Club, right, under
Yep,
William
yep.
Regal, right?
Yeah, but it'd be different
How
if I
did,
confused it with that. I just can't remember the riders. I remember the death. It's crazy. I don't know. It's just weird. But yeah, I'm really liking 8. And you know what? And I watched Collision on Saturday. Collision was not bad. Collision is their SmackDown.
right?
Dynamite is their Raw, and I liked it too. Okay, let me see. In your opinion, who do you think is the best pro wrestling announcer now on television? And who is your favorite all-time wrestling announcer? Okay, this is good. Go ahead, Rich.
You want me to go first?
Yes, I most certainly do.
I don't think you're going to agree with me,
That's
but that's
okay.
fine. No, I
That's
know, I
okay.
know. I think that today the best wrestling announcer is Michael Cole.
Okay.
He's been doing it for 30 years. When you take away the goofy stuff that he used to do, or when he gets overly, uh, tries to be funny, but he's not. When he's serious and calls the play-by-play, I think he's really found his niche, and I don't think right now, today, there's anybody better. Who
Okay.
do I think is the greatest of all time, the greatest announcer of all time? Um, geez, I mean, I'm old school, so you're going to laugh at this. I would I would say Vince McMahon Jr.
Really? Okay. All right. All right. I'm going to agree with you on Michael Cole, because unfortunately, Michael Cole, all of the ones that are around today read a script. Okay. Unfortunately, everything is written out for them. Pretty much 99% of what they say is written out for them. How much emphasis they put in it is theirs. All right. I think that Michael Cole is very energetic. I think that Michael Cole is um knowledgeable. Like you said, he's got a lot of years under his belt. I think Michael Cole is a good play-by-play. All right. I also do not like Tony Schiavone. I don't. I never did. I do
Can't
like
stand him.
No, I do like Excalibur a little bit. He's pretty good. I do think he's pretty good. But back
You
in the
like him?
day, yeah, back in the day, I'm going to tell you what I think. I loved Gordon Soley. Loved Gordon Soley. And I loved Lance Russell. To me, they had no scripts. Okay. And they banged that crap out. Let me tell you, they banged it out. They remembered everything. They didn't have to read it. They knew what they were talking about and they got excited along with it. However, this you may agree with. I think to me, one of the best combo called play-by-plays were Gorilla Monsoon and Heenan.
Without a doubt. The
They were
combination, it was
hysterical. Yeah.
pure comedy gold. And
Yep.
secondly to that, I would say Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse the Body Ventura.
Okay.
They
Jesse
were
Ventura.
right. The two of them were great. But do you remember the primetime wrestling show on USA Network
Yes.
when Monsoon and Heenan were in the studio and they were bannering back and forth and they were showing matches? The chemistry between the two of them, I've never seen anything like it. Now, I say Vince McMahon Jr., I think I need to clarify that. Not the Vince McMahon of the era where it was known that he owned the WWE. I'm talking about the Vince McMahon of the 70s,
Okay.
where he played the straight guy, straight down the middle with the yellow, goofy looking sports jacket. And if you go back and watch some of the YouTube videos of his play-by-play doing Madison Square Garden shows, doing Prism shows, and he played it as a total straight man. And even when he was play-by-play guy on Championship Wrestling and All-Star Wrestling, when his play-by-play commentary partners were, first it was Antonina Rocca, and then it was Bruno, and then it was Pat Patterson. If you go back to straight Vince McMahon, that's the Vince McMahon that I'm referencing. And
Okay.
I was thinking about Gordon Soley, and I know that Gordon Soley is known as the Dean. The problem for me is I didn't see enough of him.
Right.
What I saw was good, but I didn't see enough of him.
Okay. By the way, I got jealous and I changed my background. So I love Will Ospreay. Okay. But anyway, oh, by the way, oh my God, how could I forget this? Big news, super big news. Will Ospreay announced his wedding. He is going to be getting married to Alex Windsor, who her name is Alice Wagner, I think, or Warner, her real name is. Anyway, they're going to be getting married on June 15th. Do you know what day that is?
Your
Rich?
birthday?
The
Your
day
birthday?
before. The day before. My birthday's June 16th. They're getting married the day before my birthday. What? I mean, come on. Come on. Wouldn't that be great if right before he got married, he could come on my podcast and just, wow, that would be such a good birthday gift. Anyway, he announced it because he's going back to Japan, the WJPN, is it? WJMP? Something like that. Anyway.
JPW, New Jersey.
JPW, there you go. New Japan.
Yeah, New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Okay. Anyway, he said that the match was the 14th that he was supposed to be at. He said he couldn't make that because the day after is his wedding. And I think that is going to be crazy. God bless you. Good luck to you and Alex Windsor, because, you know, I think they make a wonderful couple together. And yes, I still love him, but doesn't mean I want him. I love him. There's a difference. Okay. Everybody keeps saying you're too old. I know I'm too old. I'm too old for everybody in the world. Okay. We got that already. Let's see. Let's go. One more question. Not surprisingly, Stephanie McMahon will be going into the WWE Hall of Fame. What is your opinion of her as an executive, an on-screen villain, and as a human being? Okay, that'll be our last one for a little bit. Go ahead.
So the first one is an executive. I couldn't begin to tell you. I mean, she was a co-CEO. I have no idea how she was as an executive. I mean,
okay.
She certainly has had the family connection to get the job. That's for sure. As an on-screen villain, she was good. Can't deny her that. She was good. She was good. As a human being, I've never met her, don't know her. I haven't read very positive things about her. But I things that have been said about her, whether they're valid or not. So I can't form an opinion of her on her as a human being.
Okay, now this is what I think. As an executive, I think this one thing puts together executive villain and human being. There was a time when Vince McMahon, yuck, okay, wanted to do a segment where she was pregnant and he was the father of her baby. Okay, that makes my skin
Right.
crawl. All right, I can't even think about it. She shut that down right away. So that to me shows complete and total class on her part, and very much lack of class on his, which he always has had. Um, as far as her as a villain, I agree with you. She was probably one of the best female villains. She portrayed the fact that she was incredibly powerful, incredibly rich, incredibly aware of what was going on, and incredibly able to be a bitch. Okay. And that was amazing. She was great as a villain. The other thing I wanted to say, and this is a fact, and I know this because of wrestlers that I have known from the past, when Shane and Stephanie got involved in wrestling, they never walked in the door and walked into an executive position. That is a fact. They both started down at the bottom. Shane put the ring together. Stephanie did errands. She did some paperwork, blah, blah, blah. And they worked their way up. However they really got there at the end was none of my business. But I know for a fact they did not just walk in there as executives, neither one of them. Okay. As far as a person, same as you, I never met her. I have no idea what she's like as a person. I do know one thing. I am a mother, and I do know one thing. She stopped wrestling so that she could spend more time with her family. Her daughters are her whole entire world. They are all going to go to college. Her one daughter is becoming a physical therapist, I believe. They all are being led down a good path. And that to me, I know Triple H is probably as involved as he can be as well, because he loves his daughters too. But that to me is a mom thing. And I think that makes her a good mom. And anybody who's a good mom is a relatively decent person. So I'm just going to go with that, at that point. All right, let's go back to some wrestling. We have exactly, let's see, one more week before WrestleMania to talk about the matches. Okay. So I think this has been going very well. We have next week. Next week, by the way, we have two podcasts. Jeannie and I will be doing a podcast on Thursday with Joey Corrado. He is an independent booker promoter. He's going to have a show coming up. Okay. Rich and I will be doing Wednesday night. So we will not be able to do, unless we change it to Friday, because Wednesday night, we're not going to be able to do the update on AEW, but we can probably do that, on AEW Dynamite. We could do that the following week or whatever. But Friday night is, I think, going to be the Hall of Fame induction like it usually is. Not a fan of the big induction. I may not watch it. From what I understand, Stephanie's going to have, I believe, multiple inductors, if that's the correct word. It's not going to be just one. So you never know. Vince may actually come out and be one of the people who induct her, because I know it's probably going to be Triple H. I heard Vince may make an appearance. And I think the Undertaker's going to have some stuff to say about her. So she's going to have several people, I believe, talking about her when her award time comes and all that stuff. Saturday and into Sunday, I'm telling you, all in all, it's an extremely hyped up WrestleMania. There's no doubt about it. The hype is there. The advertisement is there. The prices are extremely high. Nosebleeds, I mean, the top of the roof is like $1,000 or more a seat. And I mean, even if I had $1,000, there's no way on God's green earth I would spend it for that. So everybody use your head, okay? Don't take food away from your children. Don't take money out of your pocket that you don't have. You can watch it on TV for $30, or, you can get a VPN and say that you are in Italy and you can watch it on Netflix for free, which I think, by the way, is not right. Everybody around the world can watch it on Netflix for free, and we have to pay ESPN. I don't understand that at all, and I don't like it. So I don't know. I may just buy via VPN just so I can say I'm in Italy tonight, so I'm watching it for free. What the heck, right? But I'll find a way. I'll find a way to watch it. But also, don't forget though, next week is what I'm no, this Sunday is what I'm really interested in. This Sunday I might actually bite the bullet and share it with a friend again and get the pay-per-view, because I'm telling you right now, that is going to be an incredible pay-per-view. Incredible. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a little over the fact that everybody keeps hitting Will Ospreay's neck. I mean, I know that that's the general consensus. That's what everybody does when you have an injury. You come back and everybody beats the heck out of that one part of your body and all that stuff. But I think we're over that now. His neck is fine. But did you see what they did to Chris Jericho last night with the chair? I thought that was pretty cool when they supposedly broke his arm. Yeah. So now they're saying he may not be able to wrestle on Sunday, but I think he'll be there. I really do. Who do you think is going to win in that tag team on Sunday with Edge and Christian against FDR?
I think that Edge and Christian are going to win the belts. They've been building up over the last, and by the way, they've done a really good buildup of it. They were enemies in AEW. You know, they were doing their own thing. Christian had his gimmick. I forget who the young kid was with the mother.
Yeah. Supposedly his son. Yeah.
Playing the bad guy. Edge and Christian finally got together. Well, at first, Edge. I'm sorry, I shouldn't call him Edge because he's not Edge. Adam Copeland approached Christian, and Christian basically told him to, kiss off. So over time, they built it up really nice. And what's really great about this combination of them is they haven't changed their characters at all.
Mm-hmm.
Christian's still the a-hole, and Adam's there like, oh, I can't believe this guy, but I'm stuck with him.
Yeah, right? It's the same. You're right.
And they're meshing, and the fans are loving it. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
And FTR, Copeland needs his revenge from what they did to him. So all that leading up to, I think Edge and Christian win the belts.
All right, I'm gonna throw something. What's that?
I said Adam Copeland.
Oh, Adam Copeland. I call him Edge still, but I'm going to throw something extra in there. Okay, I agree with you. I think they're going to win the belts, but wouldn't it be something if after they won the belts, Christian turned on Edge?
I wouldn't have a problem with that.
That would be funny as hell, because now they have the belts and now they hate each other again, but they have to wrestle together. I think that would be a good one. I think that would be good. I like that. Okay.
I like it too.
Yeah. I should be Booker. I'm telling you, you and I should be bookers for these people. I think that we have.
No. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Finish. No, go ahead. Finish. Go. Nope. You go.
The only thing, and this is how I feel about both WWE and AEW, or let's just say wrestling in general right now. There's too many non-clean finishes. There's too many run-ins. There's too much interference. And it creates an out for the one who loses so that they can say that they didn't lose cleanly. Mm-hmm. But in my opinion, it's too much overkill, and it's gotten to the point of just being annoying to me.
Exactly. I think the WWE is doing that a lot more. In all fairness, not to put down the WWE, that's not the point. I was raised in WWF, so that's been my life. But it seems like in the WWE, in the recent months, I'm going to say, I don't think we've actually seen one really good, incredible, full match. I really don't, without run-ins, without a quick ending, without, just it being big plugs for a big WrestleMania or big pay-per-view. AEW now, I think, is starting to get the picture, because they're starting to calm down with the run-ins, and they're putting together real wrestling matches. I got to tell you, I got to reiterate it again. Last night's match was to me, like you said, Rich, one of the best that they've produced in a while. And I think it's because of Ospreay coming back too. I think he has a lot to do with it. I think he is really a go-between with a lot of the people. I think he has a lot to say. I think they do listen to him. And I'm going to tell you something. If I ever get to go see an AEW match, and if I have to buy a ticket, I want to get a front row ticket. All right. But I want to get it. You know, when you walk down the aisle, before you go in the ring, you go to the end of the aisle, you make a left right there. Okay. Because every time Will Ospreay comes down that aisle, that's, if you notice, he always goes to the left and messes around with the people sitting in the front row on the left side. So I'm going to sit there because when he comes, I'm going to jump all over him. I'm going to say, oh my God, I love you. I love you. I love you so much. And I'm going to give him a card and say, please come on my podcast. And then, of course, he won't have any reason not to. He won't be able to avoid it. All right. Anyway, enough of that. All right. I'm stopping. Also, I want to make another.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. Knowing your love for Will Ospreay, okay, when Will Ospreay first came into AEW, he was a heel managed by Don Callis. How did you feel about him when he first came in as a heel?
I loved him when he was in Japan. You understand? I've loved him for years when he was in Japan. So when he came in as a heel, I didn't like the fact that he was a heel, but I still loved him because I already knew who he was. I already knew his capabilities. I already knew that he was so wonderful. I want to make another announcement real quick. I want to also say hello to John Weslowski. He was a guest on our show several times. He's very old school, very good old friend of ours. He was here for the tribute that we gave to Paul, my ex-husband, when he passed away. I forgot him. I'm sorry, John. Also, I wanted to make another announcement, and that just completely flew out of my head. Oh, I know what it is. Last night on our tribute, I said that I would mark out for Wendy Richter. I have never met her. I love her dearly. I would like fall over something, which is not that hard to do for me, by the way, for her. Okay. Joel called me today. I love Joel. I know I say I hate him, but I really don't. I love Joel. He called today and he said in Parsippany, I believe it is, May 16th, there's going to be a big con. Joel's going to be there to sell his book, et cetera, et cetera. I didn't even talk to Jeannie about this yet. Sorry, Jeannie. I'm going to call you right after the podcast. He wants us to go up because I told him I'd go up and help him sell books, blah, 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 whatever, because he'll get there real early in the morning. So it'd be parking and all this other stuff. Guess who's going to be there?
Wendy Richter.
Wendy Richter. So I get to mark out her and Baby Doll. I get to mark out again. So hopefully, God willing, if I have to go and I have to go, and I have to be dragged by a long, long rope, I want to go. I want to see Wendy Richter. I love Wendy Richter. And who knows, maybe we'll get her to come on the podcast. And I would be beside myself excited. I would probably pee. And that's the truth. I'm sorry. I don't want to say that on the air, but I just did. I love Wendy Richter. Okay, let's do one more question here or a couple questions, and then we'll go and finish talking about that stuff. Okay. Okay, according to some wrestling journalists, the typical buzz leading into WrestleMania 42 has been quieter than usual, with fans less emotionally invested compared to previous years. Do you agree with these journalists?
Yeah, I think we've talked about it. Absolutely.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I agree with that. All right, next one. NBA legend Dennis Rodman is going into the celebrity wing of the WWE Hall of Fame. Why? I don't know. How do you feel about that, since the majority of his wrestling work was in WCW and not WWE? I'm going to answer this before you. I think it's stupid. All right? I just think it's stupid. Okay, go ahead, Rich.
Agree totally. I don't know why they would pick Dennis Rodman. The question was raised that he did most of his work in WCW. I don't recall him ever doing anything in WWE. And so and what he did in WCW, big deal, right? He teamed with Hogan and, was a celebrity thing and everything.
Yeah.
Why?
They had to pick a celebrity. That's why. They had to pick a celebrity. They looked through their records. They saw somebody that did one or two things there, and let's just do him so we can have a celebrity thing. That's all. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. Okay, next one. Speaking of WCW, Eric Bischoff is definitely a polarizing and controversial figure in pro wrestling history. Eric made some stupid mistakes in running WCW, but did he kick Vince McMahon's ass for 83 straight weeks with Ted Turner's money? But he did. All right, he did. I'm sorry. The former meat salesman and male model will turn 71 years old next month. In your opinion, What is his legacy in the pro wrestling business? Well, he was a meat salesman and a model. I don't see that with what's his name, Eric Bischoff, but whatever. What do you think he contributed?
I think that Eric Bischoff was in the right place at the right time. I don't know what he did politically behind the scenes to go from a third string ring announcer, to be basically the head of WCW. But what he did with Nitro was to bring an unpredictability to the product that previously did not exist. And that made Nitro a can't miss episode because you just did not know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think his legacy in the business was that he in his own way was an innovator and a visionary.
I am not a fan of Eric Bischoff. I think his legacy that he's going to leave behind is starting a lot of trouble. He had a really good way of coming between people and starting trouble. He said, she said kind of things with people. And if he didn't like you, he would find a way to definitely screw you big time behind your back. And I don't like that from anybody. I've never done that to anybody, and I will never do it to anybody. And I don't like it. I don't like it. To me, that takes away any legacy you could leave if you're just a mean, sneaky, cheating person. That's just the way I feel about him. Okay, let's see. Carmella.
I was going to say, that's something you would know, and I certainly wouldn't. So I'm just looking at it.
No, I understand that. I know. I do know a little more behind the scenes, but yeah, that's what I think.
But I will say one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Bischoff has this podcast called 83 Weeks, right? And it's been on for several years. There is an ongoing mutual hatred between Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo. And I'm not saying that Vince Russo is an angel, but Vince Russo has been quoted as saying that the only person that he would never accept an apology from is Eric Bischoff. And Eric Bischoff says that Vince Russo was a liar and he was a manipulator and blah, 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 blah. And so to listen to all the drama between the two of them, I just find it interesting. They both have their own sides of it. I just find it interesting that there's this mutual hatred because obviously something happened and everybody's got their own version of it.
Well, you know what? There is a lot of animosity against Vince Russo for a lot of different reasons. Jim Cornette has flat out said publicly that he would kill him if he could. All right.
That's
so
right.
I don't know Vince Russo. I've never met the man. I know nothing about him except what I heard. However, he was the one responsible for the Brawl for All. Okay, that's a whole nother cup of coffee. If you guys ever watch Dark Side of the Ring, there's so much on there about the brawl to end it all or the Brawl for All, whatever it was. And he was the one who came up with the idea for the wrestlers to really, really fight in with gloves on and no setups, no predeterminations, none of that stuff. They were just told, go out there and literally kill each other. And that's what happened. Some people nearly did get killed because as well as I do, some of these wrestlers, you can't really hit them. They can't really fight. Okay. They can wrestle, but they can't fight. All right. And he did this because he didn't like JBL, because JBL in the back of the dressing room said, I can beat anybody in here. And Vince Russo was like, oh, really? So how about if we give it a shot? And he went to Vince, promoted this idea. Vince stupidly said, okay. And needless to say, JBL got knocked out quick. And everybody wound up hating Vince Russo for that, especially Jim Cornette. So that's maybe another show, but that's a whole other cup of coffee. Also, Vince Russo said he will go on anybody's podcast for a very large fee. Okay, which of course I will not pay. But enough about them. Do you think The Rock would make a showing next week?
No. Do you?
I don't either. I don't either, because The Rock is not The Rock anymore. For multiple reasons. He definitely has had heart issues, so he stopped the steroids, which by the way, he denied ever taking. He stopped the steroids. and he's much smaller than he used to be. And I believe if for nothing else, the criticism alone, he'll probably stay away for a while. That's what I believe. Okay. It's his health. He needs to do what he has to do for his health. Doesn't matter what other people think as far as that goes, But I don't think he'll be there. That's just an opinion. Although John Cena is going to host it, so he will definitely be there. Carmel and Rich, this is a good question. They're all good, by the way, Chuck. I'm sorry. You have both been following professional wrestling since the 1960s. In your opinion, what is the biggest difference? I love this question between pro wrestling fans in the 1960s and wrestling fans nowadays. Rich?
Pro wrestling fans in the old school days were totally emotionally invested in whoever it was that they got behind. And I think the greatest example of that has to be Bruno. And I know we've talked about this multiple times. I remember being at the arena one time and Bruno was coming out, and I think I had ringside seats, and everybody's patting Bruno on the back as he's marching to the ring. No music in the background, no nothing. And I remember I got a pat in on the back, and I was a kid,
cool?
And I was, I was in my like, cloud. Today's wrestling fan, I think they are invested in some characters, but I also think I think a lot of the wrestling fans today are sheep.
I think years ago, the reason that a lot of people were invested in wrestling more than they are today, I believe, is for multiple reasons. Number one, the wrestlers were invested in the people. All right. Back then, again, I repeat myself, back then it was a different world. Wrestlers needed the fans. They needed the people. They needed them on a personal level, not just money. They needed them. They needed them to like them. They needed them to do this. They didn't have an executive team. They didn't have anybody, a creator. They didn't have any of this stuff. The wrestlers were 100% invested in the fans, even the bad guys. Like, they all shook hands with the fans. And you see pictures all over the place that when they're in the ring, they sat around the ring. They sat, even Haystack Calhoun sat on his butt in the ring with a whole bunch of fans around the ring, handed him papers, and he signed every one of them. Okay. Yeah. Today you can't do that. Today the world is crazier. I get that. But the wrestlers today are not invested in the fans at all. Okay. The wrestlers today have a team. They have an executive team. They have their own agent. They have their own booking team. They have all this stuff. They're treated as celebrities. They were never treated as celebrities years ago when I was growing up, when you were growing up. Okay. They today are put on a higher scale. They are presented to the fans as, I'm better than you. And God, do I hate that. I don't like that one bit. If I could change wrestling, I would change it back to what it used to be. So that's the difference between the fans, only because the wrestlers and the wrestling organizations have made it that way. So I think the fans are not as invested now as they were then because of a lot of that reason. You can't go up to a wrestler and say, hey, come over to my house, I'll cook you dinner. When does that happen? Unless you know them for 20 years, which isn't going to happen either. All right. So no, I think today's wrestling fans cannot get as invested as they used to because they're not allowed to. And again, and even if they were, it is more dangerous today. That's the truth.
Yeah. And when I use the term sheep, I think the best example of that I could use is even with the heels, they're booing the heels, but yet they're singing along to their entrance music, right? So like Seth Rollins was a heel, they're singing along to his entrance music, right? Yeah. When Chris Jericho was a heel and he'd come out to the Judas music, all the fans are, right? They're booing him, but then the Judas music hits and they're all up there, up on their feet, singing the Judas music. And then when the Judas music ends, they're booing him.
Yeah.
And that's
like when like Roman Reigns and CM Punk were in the ring. The people were singing the CM Punk song, Personality, Cult of Personality. But then when Roman Reigns was OTC, like you can tell right then and there, half the audience is like OCT, CM Punk, OCT. That was never
Right.
like that. It was never like that,
No.
period. Okay, last and final question. I expect Will Ospreay to go over, of course, to Jon Moxley at AEW Dynasty and win the AEW Continental title and get revenge for his neck injury. Will Ospreay holds the record for the most matches rated 5 stars or higher in 55 matches, according to respected journalist Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Going forward, what does Ospreay have to do to solidify himself as the best pro wrestler on the planet? Does he have to wrestle a little smarter and not put his neck in jeopardy? Does he have to improve his promo skills? Does he have to hold a major title like the AEW World Championship? Okay, I got a good answer to that, but you go first.
You sure?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, Chuck, I love the question, but I would have to question the term respected and Dave Meltzer in the same sentence. So let me just get that out of the way. I think that Dave Meltzer is a charlatan. But going back to Will Ospreay, I think what he needs to do to be at the top, I would say, I think he needs to improve his talking or his mic skills.
Mic skills, yeah.
Yeah, his mic skills. I think there's some improvement that's needed there. Does he need to have the AEW title? Not necessarily, but I think it would help.
Okay, what I think, and this is honest to God what I think, Will Ospreay would be 100% better if he was the Will Ospreay in Japan, period. I was watching the past couple of days. Like I said, I haven't been feeling great. So the past couple of days, I was watching Will Ospreay in Japan. Oh my God. All right. He was like, I don't know, a jumping bean. He was like a crazed animal. I mean, the moves that he did, he didn't miss a trick. He was so fast. He was so high flying. He kicked so much butt. But then again, WWE does this too. AEW does it too. When you come from Japan into the United States for some ungodly reason, and maybe it's because, I don't know why it's because, but they change your way of wrestling. Both organizations do it. Okay. WWE actually sends you down to the performance center to learn WWE wrestling. I don't know what AEW does, but it looks like these wrestlers that are foaming at the mouth in Japan come here and they're like, all right, I'll beat you up. But, I think Will Ospreay is like, they need to let him revise himself. They need to let him put that stick back up his butt like he had in Japan. He went nuts. He absolutely went nuts. His mic skills, I agree, should be better. I think actually last night him talking on the mic was better than I've seen him before. He's gotten a little bit better. Okay. So yeah, that's what I agree. Chuck, I can't thank you enough for these questions because I have gotten feedback from some of the fans that they actually like it because they're learning things, and again, like I said last night, this podcast is not in competition with anybody. If we never get 1 million subscribers or 1 million listeners or 1 million likes, that's okay. All right. What I do like is that the people who do listen like the show. And that's what matters. And all my life, for 62 years, I have done nothing but try to help anybody at any time. And anybody who knows me knows that that's what I do. I want to bring wrestling in a different realm, in a different society to people that didn't have it back then. And I just want to have fun. And I just love everybody who listens. And I appreciate it. Rich, we're going to wrap it up tonight because we are getting there for time. But anyway, I'm going to work tomorrow. I did not go to work today. So now everybody at work knows I didn't go. But yes, I did my podcast because I have to sit here for an hour and shoot my mouth off, which my mouth doesn't hurt. Okay. So that's an excuse I tell everybody. We're like, well, you were out, you didn't feel good, but you did your podcast. That's right. Because there's nothing wrong with my mouth. All right. But in any event, I always enjoy the podcast. Rich, I enjoy having you with us so much. And we're going to put a bunch of good stuff
Thank
together between now and the recap
you.
of WrestleMania.
Thank you
Oh,
for having me.
oh,
Again, it is an honor that you've asked me to be part of this, and I will say it again. Me being on this with you is helping me to live the dream that I never had the opportunity to lead in being involved in the pro wrestling business. And so
oh.
for that, I will always be grateful and thank you.
Thank you. I'm honored that you're here. Your knowledge is impeccable. Chuck, your knowledge as well. It's so refreshing to be able to reminisce about the wrestling from years ago. Jeannie and I do it too, and I love Jeannie to death. But I think with us, the knowledge of all the old stuff is there because we've heard it, we've seen it, we've watched it, we've go back and watch it again. Joel is the same thing with Joel. He loves doing that stuff. It's everybody has their own niche. Everybody has their own thing. And trust me when I tell you, you're going to be here with us for a few more weeks. But trust me when I tell you, you're never going to be far away. And I'm more than happy that I have helped you live a dream, as they say. But it's
Thank
funny. I joke around a lot, but one day, we're going to have a big star on this podcast. You mark my words. I have said it publicly. I don't know who, I don't know when, and I don't know how, but it's going to happen. Okay. But anyway, I want to thank you again for being here. You're a wonderful man. You're a good friend. And I'm so grateful that I met you and that we became friends. And I hope that it lasts forever.
It will.
We will,
Thank
yes,
you.
definitely. Give my best to Harriet and please let her hear it. Let her hear the podcast if she likes it. I want to say hi to Rich. I forgot to do that. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else, but I don't know. If I left anybody out, please forgive me. The list is getting longer, so we're trying. And I'm grateful that the list is getting longer. Oh, and John Westcott. We can't forget him, my dear little guy. Okay, everybody, we love you. And Rich, I love you, and we'll see you again soon.
And thank you again, Chuck, for the questions.
Absolutely. Love you, Chuck. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.